There's a record of subs getting like superpowers. I remember
Yeah.
remember when Fireburner stepped back in
Oh
that
gosh, yeah.
one game and then just
Yeah.
clutched it out. And then you also have it when Arju stepped in, and then popped off and clutched
Don't
it
forget
out.
over zero. Don't forget over zero. Come on,
Over
man.
zero? Yeah, what is
The
it?
OG.
How about
The
Turbo
OG.
Pulsa? Turbo
Yes.
Pulsa, right? All right, but we got our match. They're finally here, ladies and gentlemen. Stacks and Turks, all you.
Oh,
Are they here?
All right.
Are they like mentally here? How does this go in?
Well, this is
What a
exactly
start.
what Leaf was talking about. I think SSG still sleeping, probably just woke up. Reynolds off the backboard has absolutely no idea what's happening. Doesn't get the hit. Not the best start. Maybe that's the wake-up call they needed. ZPS striking first.
Well, when Space Station goes to a sub, sometimes they let in some weird goals like that. So maybe we'll see the starter, Rob G, brought back in. It's Reynolds again. Off to the corner. That's going to be brought out of the zone by Sosa, but only as far as Cyprical. Now Reynolds again.
Oh.
Well, he's looking for a fast start, but he's had anything but after letting in that first goal.
Yeah, and if you watched any of the series yesterday, especially the one from Alpine versus the Knights, that one, again, like we say with every series so far, has gone the distance. Woo. It was a combination between ZPS and his two teammates. ZPS is so lethal in the corners. Look at how he keeps control of the ball, finds another touch out to the middle, and Rodoko with an easy finish.
Well, this is not the start Space Station was looking for. I can imagine Chrome just sitting in the comms like, yo, y'all don't score by the 3.5-minute mark. I'm subbing in mid-game.
Yeah.
Reynolds. That could be the motivation he needs, too. This goes to the corner. Doesn't have anybody to pass to. Arsenal was way back. Should be Cyprical's ball, but he's turned around, and Knights repel yet another attack out of Space Station. It is all PK in the first minute to the tune of 3 goals.
And ZPS has been the fundamental part of almost every single play so far in the first minute. 3 goals for the Knights. It's that easy. SSG, the defense, they're going to go back to bed at this point. I think they've got some blankets already tucked in. They're going to look like Rizzo in that smug match versus Sizz by the end of this series.
Well, Reynolds and Space Station looking for anything to get themselves going. It is an awkward start to day 2 of the summit. Here's Arsenal. Nothing to work with. Nobody to pass to either. It is just all individual efforts, one at a time out of Space Station. We're not seeing that team play on either half of the field. This is probably their best pass so far of the game, and that's going to be picked off by Sosa.
Oh, and that's the speed that we want to see from Sosa. The huge element that I think he brings to this roster. And, as we move forward, I want to continue seeing ZPS go for those passes in the corners and make sure that the solo plays he's going for like this are actually in his favor, But ZPS, there's a lot of responsibility, but that doesn't mean Rodoko and Sosa can't pop off at any given moment.
Rattles, tough angle, blocked by Sosa, and ZPS not able to clear the zone. Chance maybe for Cyprical. Couldn't get there, it's still loose. And Space Station, you almost feel like they have to score on this trip down the field. Bounced in front, but Cyprical's not there. Arsenal stays with this and actually got a piece of ZPS as well. Looking to drop one down, tried to dish it for himself, and there was just nothing to work with there. And again, Space Station have just been fooled and tricked by this entire Knights defense. They don't have an answer for this puzzle.
But they are getting the engines warmed up a little bit. I mean, you can't deny that they have had more pressure than we've seen so far, especially in that first minute. But this one, sniped to the upper corner. It's ZPS yet again. Or did he steal it? He did steal it. I was about to say, there's no way. I saw Sosa up and ZPS. That was going in regardless. But of course he wants to get a little extra points.
Gives him a hat trick in game 1. I mean, he's everywhere. We talked about Arsenal being everywhere, feeling like, he's got 2 different cars out there. Big shot from Reynolds, and Arsenal will redirect it in, and maybe now the comeback bid is on.
Yeah, this is actually scary. There's 2 minutes, plenty of time. Once you get SSG warmed up and ready to go, they're going to start hitting every shot. Arsenal, I love the positioning there. He knows Reynolds is going to take a shot on net regardless. And if Arsenal can get in front of that defender, find that slight redirection, it's a free goal. He just has to have the speed. Of course, he's going to nail it. 2 minutes left. 3 goals to go, but with this pressure, you know it's possible for Space Station.
It would be a monumental effort out of SSG. This is thrown in front. Arsenal on the opposite side, but a good save made by Sosa and friends. Now Reynolds, you can still follow this. So too can Arsenal. And I don't think Rodoko saw Arsenal coming in.
Yeah, this is what you get scared for. You give SSG a little bit of room to make a comeback, and they are going to jump on that opportunity. Arsenal flies super fast to get up to that aerial. Nobody's there for the challenge. The Knights defense a bit slower, and they can't match the speed. We've got a closer game, Stax.
All of a sudden, this blowout has turned into a game. Arsenal over 1. Reynolds with the demolition. Chance for Arsenal to get out of the zone when it didn't look like he'd be able to keep possession. This goes right back across the middle. I don't think Space Station was expecting it. This is exactly what the Knights needed. Kill off a little more clock. Down to a minute 20. Zipical going over top, and it's blocked away by Rodoko.
I like the idea for Civical to go for the more safe play, trying to get the demo. Definitely more efficient, but unfortunately doesn't make contact. Wasn't fast enough, but they're still moving forward with all the pressure. We've barely seen the Knights break out, and if we do, it's off of ZPS going for a solo play. They can't sustain it on the offensive side.
Sosa and ZPS working their way downfield, but this could be trouble. It's one the other way. Big bump, and Reynolds will drive it home.
This is the play that Space Station love to go for. You've got somebody with a small little dribble waiting for a demo to come out. Then Reynolds, if you thought the demo wasn't enough, how about a fake on the side of Reynolds to slot it in? 49 seconds. This is what we expected, Stax. Space Station Gaming, once they got that first one, they just kept it rolling.
All of a sudden, a 4-goal lead has just wilted away. Reynolds launching one to the backboard. This could be trouble if Sosa doesn't control, but he does. ZPS looking for it, and that might have put the game away. But instead, it remains a 1-goal lead and a big boom downfield. ZPS has to have this away from any Space Station cars, and he does get around Reynolds. Typical dumping it back in. 15 seconds left. Sosa to the side. They got a little tangled up there. Arsenal and I think Reynolds in the same area. 8 seconds left. Typical coming on, but that ball's not going to find him. Down to 4 seconds. Got to keep it in the air. Going the wrong way. And, well, they haven't done it yet. No way. There ain't no way. Goodness. How does this stay up? How do the Knights not just kill this? Now they finally do. Boy, oh boy, they made that real interesting, but a win is a win, and the Knights are up 1-0.
The Knights, they were a little bit more awake at the beginning, but SSG slowly heard the sound of their alarm, got out of bed, and decided to come to the pitch and actually play. We saw some better passes, solo plays from Reynolds, and the bumps from Arsenal. Everybody getting involved on the other side. ZPS, look at the scoreboard. 3 goals, 1 assist, involved in all 4 of those for the Knights moving forward. And at the end of that, all I saw was ZPS going for solo plays. They couldn't connect anything together, and it was ultimately just a worse showing after that first minute, excuse me, Stax.
Yeah, the first half was all Knights. The second half, all Space Station. Flipped. The problem is the 4 goals. They're better than the 3 goals that SSG managed. But, man, I'm worried about the Knights going forward in this series. They gave up 12 shots, only had 4 of their own. If Space Station actually start blocking shots, what a concept. This could be a long series for the Knights.
I mean, here's the thing. You start out horribly for the Knights, but had we gotten, or not for the Knights, excuse me, for Space Station, but had we gotten another minute of that game, I'm almost positive Space Station would have been able to tie it up, or at least get a solid opportunity again. They almost kept it up in, the final 10 seconds. So we were seeing a very close game that should have been an easy win to start things out here for the Knights. But Space Station Gaming, they're back to that performance we expected. Now we've got a closer game. You just need to have a better start, and we'll Space Station get back in, for sure.
We are aware that technically things aren't perfect. It is being worked on. It's just North American Rocket League. They're so fast that they're messing with the audio. So here we go. Reynolds.
That's right.
Going by ZPS out of the corner. Got it in front, but Sosa's going to have the clear. Now Sipical right back in. Space Station trying to send a message early here in Game 2 after they're going to feel like they kind of shot themselves in the foot in that opening game.
Yeah, but these are best of sevens. Had this been a best of five, I think Space Station Gaming would be feeling the pressure a bit more, but every single series is a best of seven throughout the Summit, Rocket League Summit 2, excuse me. So a lot of leg room for these teams to make mistakes, have a rough first game, but then pick it up as we get on with the rest of the series.
Popped out by Reynolds. Didn't have Arsenal downfield enough. ZPS has Sosa there cherry picking downfield. Didn't work out. It's typical now. Able to get by Rodoko. Has Arsenal behind him. Don't know how he's going to pass the ball to him, but sure. Now Reynolds. He'll take over for Space Station.
Nice
Still doesn't have anybody forward with him, and that's been the problem, I think, in the first half of these games, Turtle, is they just haven't been able to get the passing started right out of the gates.
Yeah, but here's the thing. We're already a minute in, Stax, and there's not 3 goals for the Knights. So immediately a better start for Space Station. They've got some pressure, but how does the Knights decide, or how do, excuse me, the Knights decide to rotate out? A key part of their game has been those clears and finding Sosa, usually downfield, to go for a quick counterattack. Let's see if that comes into play here as we get into game 2.
Arsenal avoids contact, but does not avoid Rodoko, just pounding the ball back the other way. Back and forth these teams go. It's, again, a much more reserved attack from the Pittsburgh Knights. They haven't got shot after shot in the opening couple of minutes. ZPS ranging back, couldn't keep possession. Reynolds with the demo, but Arsenal's shot was just off the mark. I don't think he was expecting Reynolds to actually get the demo, and Rodoko will clear away.
I'm not 100% sure if the communication was spot on or if Reynolds had called the demo in time for Arsenal to know to go for a free shot. He was probably trying to get that one across, but crashing the net is Reynolds. Look at how fast this man flew in to get this shot off.
Boy, he does come up in a hurry. I mean, he came up from way back.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get that cleanly, there might have been some trouble, because Space Station was a little slow rotating out, but Knights were also really slow getting that ball in the first place. Gee, that's why Reynolds got there. 1-0 to Space Station.
I think that's a lovely sign for Space Station as well. The fact that, you know, they had gotten close to getting a shot opportunity with the demo from Reynolds. Arsenal had missed his target, but they didn't let it get to them. They stayed resilient, kept the pressure up, and knew another mistake would come out. That's the key for a lot of these teams so far in North America, is not falling into that mentality of being too desperate and trying to put everything on target, just waiting for a mistake to happen.
Audio seems to be fixed, and chat is happy. It's a Christmas miracle.
We're back, baby. You know, maybe we should have just started predicting the future. I feel like you could have done that, Stax. Yeah, I would like to see it.
I mean, I can do it anyways. The Knights are going to score here.
Okay.
Just kidding.
So, if you remember back to the Rocket League Summit, the first event, we had a lot's insane prediction with the timer. I don't know if you saw that clip, Stax. A lot had essentially predicted when a team would score on the second, the exact second, okay? If we're ever having audio delay issues, we might have to throw in a lot, because I feel like he's the only man who can fix that problem.
He is a treasure.
He really is.
Rodoko beaten out by Reynolds here. Space Station's holding on to their lead. At least 4 now, but Sosa's intercepted. And, oh, good job by Arsenal getting over to typical Space Station. Again, they've been rocky at the start of games, but they've settled down. He's looking to go under the bar. Just could not get on top of the ball.
Yeah, that was a really good look. Very good look from Civical, as we've got more mechanics coming out. Sorry to interrupt you, Stax, but I mean, come on. You're seeing Civical go in the air. If he had any ounce of boost, would have been able to slow it down a bit. And now Arsenal, he's threatening the demo. You see him get close to Rodoko, forces Rodoko to panic and jump in the air, and Arsenal goes then to take the boost. That's how annoying he is to deal with.
Out of the corner, Sosa, as the Knights trying desperately to get out of their own zone, get downfield onto the Space Station end of the field. What a fake by Arsenal, and that's going to burn even more time off the clock.
Oh my goodness, Civical also with a shot. This has been, the scoreline does not represent it, but I truly think this has been a dominant showing from Space Station. There's been a couple of moments where the Knights have managed to break out of their own defensive end, but they can't hold the pressure the same way Space Station have in game 2. Final 3 seconds. This one drops down off the back wall. Nobody can predict where it's going to go. They can't keep it up. The Knights end up losing game 2.
Well then.
That was an immediate response.
Yeah. I mean, look, things haven't changed much for the Knights. They didn't get many shots. Space Station did. So
Wow.
how different is it really?
Okay.
Yeah.
I knew that the Knights didn't have that much pressure, but I did not know they only managed to hit one single shot that entire time against Space Station Gaming. A 1-0 game for Space Station, but the Knights had one shot. That is ridiculous. Thinking about whether or not Space Station, if they had just found a little bit more accurate shots, that could have been a 5-0 game easily with the amount of pressure we saw. The Knights did a good job holding on, but at the end of the day, you need to get some offense going or find some way to transition out. Otherwise, you're just going to be trapped.
Yeah, the shots were officially 12-4, and I think as a result, ZPS only had 2 of his shots count. So he had a 133% shooting percentage at the end of game 1. And he didn't hurt his shooting percentage that last game. He didn't get to shoot much.
Yep.
We'll see what happens in game 3 as Space Station Gaming try to turn things around. They tied up the series. Now they're looking to take the lead on DFH Stadium. Reynolds blocked by Rodoko, but then he just goes through and gets the demolition. It's a good consolation prize as Sosa gets a big clear.
And this is the Space Station Gaming that always comes out to amaze us because there's so many different moving parts that make up this offense. Reynolds going for the bumps. You've got Sypical hitting every single shot. What more do you want if you're Space Station Gaming?
Game 1 back? A do-over?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
You know, we're not asking for too much here. But alas, it does not work that way. They are at least out on the front foot in game 3. CPS out of the corner looking to answer, and that just is not happening. The Knights have been stifled over the past about 8 minutes of gameplay, going even back to the end of game 1. It has been all Space Station Gaming. Sypical going headhunting again. Reynolds has gotten a lot more demolitions.
Oh my.
There's another from Arsenal. That leaves CPS in a tough spot.
There was 2 demos. Arsenal kept the rotation, then Sypical got a demo. They don't even mind, not getting a shot on net all the time. They just want to keep the pressure because this is what's going to happen. If you keep the ball in the space of the Knights and continue to let on with the demos, with the pressure, and also Sypical, that control in the corner, you're surely going to get an open net. 2 goals for Space Station. Under 4 minutes left, and we've already got this dominant performance from him.
This is just ridiculous. Arsenal on his way out of the goal, and he just gets that pinched off him with Sypical. Yeah. Play time's over.
I don't know why I said under a minute left. I meant there's only been a little bit over a minute. Sometimes, time is difficult to grasp the concept of it, Stax, okay? Don't get mad at me.
Turtle, I just get the feeling you don't subscribe to the mortal man's construct that is time. I think we go on turtle time. I don't know where I was going with that. It's real early.
I thought you were talking about like a YouTube channel for a second. I don't subscribe anyway, but subscribe to the BTS YouTube channel. I'm sure there's some great highlights on there. Also, of the previous events too, we've got Sypical popping off on defense. This is the most aggression the Knights have seen for the past 2 games.
That's been the best look for the Knights, and even that was turned aside. Sosa trying to slow down and delay against Sypical, and when you try to slow play against Space Station, that just means the rest of the swarm can come in. Here goes Arsenal. He's got plenty of boost to try and play around Rodoko, and does get by him with, it's a hideous looking flip reset, but it did enough. It takes Rodoko out of the play for a moment. Sosa and ZPS now try their luck. Rodoko thought about turning around. Now he's got to get back. The timing is just all off right now for Pittsburgh.
And I think the key, though, for Pittsburgh, because this has been a better offensive strike and movement for the Knights, and it's been because of dribbles. They've broken down the defense, finally, of Space Station Gaming. They get a goal here, and we're back to seeing the Knights on offense.
Count them, 1, 2, 3. That is a triple commit. I'm confident.
All of that started
maybe we have to ask Daz if it was only a double commit.
I saw that debate yesterday between you and Daz, I have my opinion, Stacks, but I don't want to tell you. I don't want to ruin your day. So I'm just gonna keep it to myself.
Aw, you're so thoughtful. Here's CPS. The Knights are back in it. Down only a goal. But, man, they had to work real hard to get that goal. Arsenal single-handedly through the defense and finished off with a big clear by ZPS. That's an awkward ball out of Typical, but there's nobody there from the Knights to take advantage of it.
Still want to see some more control out of the Knights. That's what got them that first forward movement. You know, the transition game is what I'm really trying to say, because words can be difficult sometimes, because if you got Typical taking my breath away with some fantastic shooting yet again, a big miss on the backboard. How did he slot that in? How did that get past the defense? I have no idea.
Well, we were asking a lot of questions. How did the Knights score half the goals they did in game one?
Oh, man.
And now the universe is just kind of evening itself out. Arsenal around one, could not get around another. He's all out of boost. The Space Station likely don't need any more goals. They just need to preserve this 2-goal lead, and that clear by Arsenal is certainly going to help.
The Knights just need to control this ball a bit more instead of go for that panic clear. I love when ZPS goes from the corner, takes a nice little dribble, takes out maybe 1 or 2 defenders, and then they can move forward. Right here, Rodoko keeping it close. This is what we want, forcing the 50, and now you move on to some offensive pressure. That's what we need from the Knights. It creates a lot better opportunities, and Arsenal's going to take you out. I'd be frustrated if I'm the Knights. There's so many demos on the field.
Typical, just wasting more time and going after Rodoko. He's got to stay supersonic just to try and avoid him.
Ooh.
And then after all that, couldn't pass the ball to anybody. Couldn't really get a shot off. Sosa down to ZPS, and that's blocked by Reynolds. Got a score here. Sosa just trying to redirect that past Arsenal. Nothing doing. Space Station Gaming in the driver's seat in game 3 and about to take control of this series as well, barring a miraculous comeback that is not forthcoming. Typical looking for one more to put it away. Won't get there, but this will touch down unless Arsenal says no. And we will go to game 4 with Space Station firmly in front.
And still a dominant showing from Space Station. Excuse me, but this was better for the Knights. Yeah, hands down. I mean, you also look at the shots, not just putting on 1 shot this time, but instead 8 compared to SSG 7, which actually surprises me. I think SSG for sure had more possession throughout that game. Maybe not as many chances on net, but the Knights had broken out a couple of times. It was not the same showing that we saw in the previous game. I think if we move forward, the Knights need to, like I said, go for those dribbles and try to control the pace a bit more, because they just fall into that simple trap of clearing right to Space Station and giving away the ball.
This is the first game that the Pittsburgh Knights have actually outshot Space Station in the series, and that's surprising considering Space Station at one point had a 4-0 lead in game 1.
Crazy.
Things turned around in a hurry for Space Station Gaming, and, well, we've got a series on our hands, at least for now.
Sir.
The Knights started to figure it out near the end of that game, but they're going to need a lot more. They're especially going to need it on the defensive end. A typical whiffed on one. Reynolds didn't have anybody to pass to, and maybe it could be another quick start for the Pittsburgh Knights.
Yeah, and if SSG win this game, we're basically looking at a reverse sweep, but instead in a best-of-5 setting for the Knights, which would be difficult, obviously, to do against Space Station, who have been incredibly aggressive, still going for demos. They're finding solid pass connections on the offensive side. Now, the question is, will they be able to find the shooting accuracy that we always seem to or they always, seem to struggle with? ZPS now on the dribble out. I like keeping it close, going for the solo play, and then gets the goal. This is exactly what I want, Stax. This is exactly how the Knights need to move down the field. Beautiful.
CPS, I don't know how intentional that second touch was on the pass, but we'll take it. And then, of course, ZPS, it wouldn't be him if he didn't steal the goal at the end.
And previously, ZPS would have just banged that ball all the way down to the other side out of panic mode, really. He would have freaked out a bit. The nerves got to him, and he just gives away the ball. Just like we're seeing here for the Knights, a double commit. The ball gets taken away by SSG. Thankfully, they do find it clear. If you're a fan of the Knights, this is a better performance from them. We'll see if they can end up tying this series up.
Arsenal taking over for Space Station. Tough angle, couldn't convert. Reynolds coming on the weak side, and all they'll do is just pop it up, playing the long, patient game for Space Station. They're not panicking and not just taking every shot that's available. They're looking for quality chances, and as a result, they should score, but they won't.
What?
Oh my goodness.
The slowest shot. Reynolds had the open net pretty much, only had to hit it to the right side, but instead, he sneezed on the ball, got no power. The Knights hold on to the lead, and we don't have a tied-up game. Now the transition for Sosa, he beats one. Does he have the angle off the backboard? He can't find it. A demo from Reynolds, and they move out, getting away with it, but still, you want to see another shot from Reynolds because he needs to make up for that.
Reynolds got to feel like he's got Rob G looking over his shoulder now, like, really?
Now, I told you, the nerves are getting to him. You're filling in the shadow of the legend Coach Chrome. It's impossible. No man has ever stepped up to the plate, stepped up to that challenge. Reynolds, I applaud you and I respect you for trying to match that performance of Chrome, but really, is it possible by any man who's immortal? I don't think so.
Well, this will get onto the Knights half of the field. Arsenal looking to tie, set up Reynolds.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, the king is back.
All right, maybe he can fill the shoes of Chrome. Maybe just a little bit. With a shot like this and a pass from Arsenal across the field, you knew exactly what he was trying to do. It was even a bit predictable, but because the pass had all that power, Reynolds was able to get in front of it. Lovely play from Space Station, tied up here, and now we're getting into the second half, Stacks.
Just confirming what we've known for a long time. Arsenal, one of the better passers in North America. Probably right there with Atomic. Here's Rodoko. Backboard, looking for the double. No, Sosa throws one up there, and Arsenal will swat it away. ZPS quickly onto this, and that's going to be set away by Reynolds. Not out of the zone, however. Reynolds has to play one back over to Arsenal.
Look at that transition from Space Station Gaming. It didn't necessarily go somewhere, but they were able to stall a lot of time. We had Typical hit it into the corner. Arsenal then goes for a dribble, and they all have plenty of boost to hold on to the pressure of the Knights. Lovely work from Space Station as they try to move it out.
Loose ball to be taken by Sosa. Rodoko comes in, bounces one just wide. Well, the pressure is on from the Pittsburgh Knights. ZPS there. It looked like he had a lane to shoot through, and Sipical barely got a piece of it. Oh, Rodoko's quickly onto this too. Sosa still downfield, trying to get Sipical and could not.
Dribble.
And that'll force Rodoko back.
One v one. Oh my goodness, Sosa, the early flick. I like the idea against Sipical, but Sipical had read that play really from a mile away. Good defense on the 1v1 side of things. Sosa maybe go for a fake in that situation, but good looks from the Knights. Tied up performance here, 1-1, a minute left. I'm not really sure who's gonna take it, Stax. This has been back and forth, probably the most even game we've had.
This has been a lot of fun to watch. Sipical, that's going to drop right down for Sosa, but he put it high and wide. Didn't really have a clean lane to shoot through. Rodoko can't recover for this. And it may be a chance on the counterattack for Space Station, though Reynolds was still looking for contact up on the backboard and found none as we dip down inside 30 seconds. Sipical, around one. This could be trouble. This could be a lot of trouble.
What a dribble.
Up high, but ZPS will pop it away, and Sosa downfield with him. Chance maybe to steal one for the Knights? No, as this is stopped well out in front. Is anybody going to make a mistake down the stretch? Oh, no, sir!
Oh, my goodness.
Rodoko with a vicious double.
Look at how hard he smacked this ball against the backboard. You can't even get up in time if you're Sipical. Sipical rotated out and in a little bit to try and get a touch. Had absolutely no chance. It's not ZPS stepping up. It's Rodoko instead. 13 seconds left. He gets the shot in. And the Knights are looking to take it. But maybe Space Station, they keep this up. They've got a chance.
This is going to spike down.
Oh,
Somebody's got to get to it. And it just rolled to a stop as the Pittsburgh Knights tie up the series.
I honestly didn't think this was going to happen. Knights getting back so quickly. I expected SSG to win this game. Get on match point. We might see a little bit of a resilient fight back from the Knights. Maybe go up to 2 games and then SSG take it. But this performance where Rodoko had stepped up in those moments, this is something that the Knights can be proud of. And moving forward, I'm not sure anymore. I had Space Station favoring this series, but I think the Knights, Leaf might be right, and I hate saying that.
I know. That's what scares me because eventually we got to bring him back in after the series is over. And then you sort of like, well, boys, you see, I told you they were going to win. And like, I don't know if I can deal with that this early in the
Leaf
day.
cast the grid games, right?
He does. He is
See,
the Knights gridcaster. So
and
it's
he
a little bit
always
like
roasts
me
me.
picking Envy, but
He always gives me the bias, and I don't like that. Okay, so finally, the time I come out here, I'm trying to roast Leaf on his bias, and he's gonna be right. That would be probably the biggest L I could take in my entire life, is being wrong, especially to Leaf X. But it's okay. I don't mind it. I love just seeing good Rocket League. Hopefully, we get a Game 7 against the Knights and Space Station. It was a lopsided matchup for both teams in the beginning, but it has smoothed out, Stax. Oh,
well then, Sosa was the only player who had not scored in this series, and he opens up Game 5 with a loud shot.
And this is a typical rotation from Sosa where he does move forward to try and receive that clear. With the speed that he brings to the Knights, they want to throw him forward. They want to have him on the other side of the clear. He moves up, lovely timing, and he's always had confidence in his teammates. I think that this Knights team has very, very good natural chemistry with each other. They know how to hit shots. They know how to clear to each other. And ZPS, he surely knows how to do things all by himself.
Well, ZPS got a little help from his friends.
A little help. Maybe not fully by himself. You know, mind control. He saw Arsenal and decided to take over his controller. We'll just say that.
Well, we know Arsenal's a good striker, but maybe a little colorblind. Here's Sipical dropping one down. Sosa right out to Arsenal. This could be trouble now. Space Station trying to get back into this game. Well, they have looked much better after Game 1, but this is looking a little bit more like that opening game, and maybe just in time for the Knights. Arsenal might have had a lane to shoot through right down the middle, but couldn't get it on target. And ZPS already has 3 saves and making another stop. ZPS pinching that off the post, and the Pittsburgh Knights are well in control of Game 5.
And look who was in front of that clear. When ZPS got the save, Sosa was there immediately to get the recovery and find a follow-up touch off the clear. He's doing it again. And look at the solo play to get it out to ZPS. Sosa starting to step up here. In the previous game, it was Rodoko. Earlier on, we had ZPS. The Knights, a 3-headed monster. A phrase I use a lot, but it really represents what the Knights are doing here in this series against SSG.
Sosa, well, he jumped for that with 10 boost, and even the most optimistic of optimists might have let that one go. Rodoko for ZPS now. He's got plenty to work with and has Sosa coming on, but just could not get by Arsenal.
I have not seen any demos from Space Station. They had started out so aggressive and so confident on the pitch, but once the Knights managed to push out a bit, we've seen that demo game from Space Station just completely stop. They don't want to go for demos again, and now it's Rodoko actually demoing Arsenal. So it has flipped. Not as aggressive play styles from Arsenal and Reddles. I would love to see them get more involved because that works so well. And typical, he answers exactly what I'm asking for. This is all I needed.
When all else fails, just have somebody run forward, get a demolition. It's hard to miss when there are no defenders.
I don't know why they stopped doing this. You know, at Space Station, we're almost trying to handicap themselves and say, look, let's not go for demos, see if we can get this. All right, it's not working. Let me just go for a demo real quick, get back in the game.
ZPS patiently waiting for this. He's going to go right by Reddles. Sipical the only one. It's 2v1, and the one holds strong as Sipical held them both off. Avoided any contact and made the save. Arsenal back the other way, and Reddles is there to finish it off.
Hold on a second. I want to see this replay with Arsenal. Did he get a touch in this corner? Okay, no, he did not. I thought Arsenal got a hit right there. It was just a nice little bounce in the corner where Reddles was able to follow it up. Maybe a fake as well from Arsenal where they thought he was going to get a touch. Space Station, they're back in the game. 2-2, second half of the game. Let's go, Stax. We've got a close one.
Well, we were joking about Reddles and maybe having a slow start, but he and Arsenal each have 4 goals apiece. It pales a bit in comparison to the 6 that ZPS has put in this series. But then again, ZPS has also stolen at least 2. So when you really think about it, the offensive contribution of all 3, just about dead even.
Now, here's the thing we have to consider, Stax. If Space Station lose this and the Knights go up to match point, do we get the Chrome subbing? Do we get it?
Man.
I think it's possible. Definitely an option. I don't know if it should be Reynolds because Reynolds has been playing relatively well, but they just need some kind of sauce. They need the Chrome magic because you've got to deal with Sosa, and without Chrome on your team, I don't know if it's possible.
Look, you know if they bring in Chrome, they won't leave any open
Oh my
nets at
goodness.
least.
That was
But my
nuts.
goodness, Sosa. I mean, there's a very thin window to sneak that ball through, and he put it there perfectly under the bar.
Sosa is a madman. You know, sometimes it's just ZPS who does crazy things like that from the Knights, but ever since they picked up Sosa, the potential from this team has really exceeded all of our expectations.
Yeah, the Knights had kept this series close without Sosa doing a whole lot on the offensive end. He had a few assists. Probably should have had at least a goal if ZPS didn't exist. Still pound that one away to the side and get the second touch to follow.
I'm pretty sure ZPS stole like 3 of Sosa's shots at the end of a couple of games, so he's a little bit peeved because of that. But he definitely has those assists, so that's all that matters.
Good follow through by Sipical, but the shot's going to be blocked. And now Arsenal over to the side, trying to maybe pinch. Nope, nothing doing. It's going to be Sipical now. Got around one. Maybe ZPS next. No, Arsenal didn't go for the demolition. They'll just throw it right back down towards the Knights' end. Maybe try to bait the Knights into making a mistake, giving them a free rebound. It is not happening. Sosa didn't get the second touch. Follow-up from ZPS is saved by Sipical. Less than 30 to go. This is dangerously close. And saved away. Follow-up though. Oh, that's high.
What is happening? Massive clears from Space Station. The Knights' defensive rotations still standing up, but finally it breaks apart. Arsenal threads the needle. 13 seconds left. Space Station tie it up. We might get overtime. Oh my goodness. Did you see the power? Who cleared that? I think it was Sipical who got the clear, Stacks to the other side. That was a home run, literally.
Well, can they hang on here to force OT? Sipical didn't get it very far away from danger. Oh, what a stop by Sip right at the end.
Wait, still up?
Oh, they almost grounded that. Now Ridoko, this got to spike down. It does. We'll have overtime for the first time in this series.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think it was the Knights in the previous game. Didn't the Knights score just in that last game with like 12 seconds left? Flip the script, we got Space Station coming back, scoring the final few seconds, all tied up. Overtime, Arsenal could end it right here with the flip reset. Doesn't get it off the crossbar. It looked good, but the defense of the Knights just looked a little bit better.
Took Reynolds a moment to realize there was no boost. Now Sipical's got a range across. Man, Knights were playing short-handed, but still got a quality look at the Space Station net. It's a good win by Ridoko as well, but even better by Arsenal to go right down the middle, away from the guy coming on the side wall. Reynolds now trying to get that corner boost, but at what cost? Well, none. Downfield, look at his center. Got it out towards Sipical, and he won that challenge somehow. Reynolds, tough angle, and he converts.
All right, you know what? I take it back. We don't need Coach Chrome in. Reynolds, you have earned your spot with this shot alone. What an angle from the corner. You have to take off perfectly from that corner to find any shot that's close to the net whatsoever. Reynolds nails it into the far left side. SSG are on match point.
Man, oh man.
Wow.
What a weird series this has been. I mean, it has had so many twists and turns.
I feel like every single series we've seen, this is why I love best of sevens. Personally, I am a huge best of 7 fan. I think a lot of times best of 5s, can just abruptly end because teams sometimes get in their head a bit and it just goes by so quickly. They don't have a lot of time to react, which is a good thing and a bad thing depending on, your opinion on it and your preference for it. But with best of 7s, we get moments like this where things just absolutely do a 180. Space Station Gaming, we're trailing in that game. 12 seconds left. We get an outstanding clear and a good follow-up from Space Station. And then the Knights come out to OT, almost hit a couple of shots on net themselves, but it's Reynolds to close it out. Match point, like I said, for Space Station Gaming. I think the Knights have what it takes, though, easily, to get back in here and force a Game 7.
Well, it is all on the shoulders of the Pittsburgh Knights to come back in this series, a series they started oh so strong. I mean, they scored, what, 3 goals in the first minute, 4 by halftime, and then they were silenced for a bit.
Yeah, and for the Knights, actually, I was about to say for Space Station. For the Knights, they know they can beat this Space Station Gaming roster. Thinking all the way back to the first regional for the winter split, they had actually taken down Space Station Gaming in the losers bracket. So it's not really a confidence issue. The Knights have been here before, not in a best of 7, but certainly in a game 5. They've taken the wins. They know how to crack this defensive Space Station, show up here, and try to force that game 7.
Well, if Daz were here, he would be real worried right now because we have seen some crazy games. He specifically has had to cast some absolute insanity on Neo Tokyo. Game 6 of most series these days has been a real doozy. Here's Arsenal floating one towards the Knights net, and boy, Rodoko made it real interesting, and because he didn't get rid of it, Space Station's all over it.
And this is where you're terrified if you're a Knights fan, because Space Station have brought back the demoing. Arsenal. Of course it's Arsenal. I don't know why I thought it was Typical. We know anybody on Space Station is going for demo. It's most likely Arsenal. Takes out the goalkeeper. And again, perfect confidence. Arsenal had read that play, knew when to go for the demo. Timing that is very hard. The communication for Space Station, flawless in order to get that play.
Virtuoso-esque has been Arsenal in this series.
And that's scary.
Oh boy,
that's scary.
Trouble.
Yeah, we know what happens when Space Station aren't going for demos or going for that physical play. We've got a much closer game. I would even say in favor of the Knights, but all they need to do is add that element and things change.
Rodoko trying to get around one. Boy, it takes so much effort to get out of the zone when Space Station has the pressure on. Rodoko throwing one across. Typical got a piece of it. Arsenal around another defender, and you can just see the Knights defenders really scrambling left to right. They finally get a brief reprieve.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe a chance. ZPS starts the game.
And it's off of ZPS's solo attempt. The control to slow down this play, hit it up to Sosa, who's doing the same thing he's done all series long, waiting for clears out of ZPS or his teammate Rodoko, finds the redirection, off the corner, out to the middle. The Knights, they counter and respond with the classic play that fits their play style the best. And they get one all tied up.
Typical. Starting things off again for Space Station. He'll at least dump that deep into the Knights zone. Arsenal didn't have Reynolds all the way up, so nobody to pass to. And we have seen Space Station as aggressive as they've been. They have not been flying all over the field like we're used to seeing. It's still a little slower than we're used to. The Knights have been able, of course, to keep up with it. I think the Knights and how quickly they've been able to move out of their zone and how quickly they've been able to get those counterattacks. I think that's playing a lot into why Space Station aren't hyper aggressive so far.
Exactly, and if Space Station extend more, it's just going to be that much easier, for the Knights to get a play like we just saw, where ZPS gets a nice little dribble out, Sosa's waiting for a clear on the other side, but that hit that Sosa gets doesn't even have to try to just go to the corner. He can shoot it on net if Space Station Gaming do overextend that much. More demos on the field though from SSG onto the Knights. Pressure being added, but you know, as much as I like to say that I thought it would be one-sided once Space Station got those demos in, the Knights have been able to handle that pressure and absorb all the heat.
Oh, Rodoko looking for contact in the net. He can still hang around, but Sosa was coming up and almost got caught out. Good read, though, realizing that ball is going to get pitched around the corner. And this is at least towards the Space Station net, and a good win by Typical. Everybody's burning a ton of boots, though. You constantly see players having to play the ball with nothing in the tank. There's Typical finally with mostly a full tank. And now CPS beaten out by Reynolds. And the Knights should at least keep possession here in the final minute. Now the mistakes that anybody makes get amplified so much. There's no margin for error for the Knights with the series on the line.
Oh, what a play from Sosa. The little control, they have absolutely learned how to control this ball and move out of that offensive pressure that the Space Station Gaming squad puts on. Almost a shot in the back of the net from Sosa. That redirect was incredible. I'm a little bit sad. I wish I could have seen that again. Not even showing bias. That was just a great shot.
Arsenal may play this for himself, though Sosa just kept it close to the wall. ZPS avoided a demolition. Now Sosa got it in front, but Reynolds is right there to collect. 14 seconds left. Could be a loose ball in front. Reynolds couldn't get another touch on it. ZPS up the ladder, just barely beating Arsenal to the punch. Final few seconds of regulation, separating us from overtime again. Sosa,
what a play.
let
Sosa.
Reynolds go by, and that's swatted down to the ground.
Oh, Sosa got that fake. The final seconds. We're in match point for Space Station, going up against the Knights, who are trying to force a game 7. It's going to be difficult, but they know how to handle this defense, and they know how to put shots on target. Rodoko gets us to game 7.
The Space Station defense just fell asleep. Rodoko comes and picks his pocket.
It's a 50.
Yeah, Typical was rotating into position, and, well, he went middle of the goal instead of staying back post. He got burned.
This is not how
guesswork.
I really didn't think that OT was going to end in that fashion. I thought we were going to see some insane, like, triple demo play. Sosa hits a flip reset, maybe. We had Typical come in for a backboard double test. No, it's just Rodoko getting a 50 and squeezing it. That's how we get game 7. I'm fine. I don't care how we get here. As long as we got here, that's all that matters, and we did. So, Stax, who's taking it in game 7? Who do you think actually has the favor here? It's hard to tell.
Man, oh man. It's hard to bet against Space Station in a game 7, but the way the Knights are playing, I don't know. They've converted me here. I'm on the PK hype train. Well, you know what? I don't know if the Knights actually want me on that train, so I'm just I got Space Station. There we go.
Okay.
I don't want to give Pittsburgh the kiss of death here.
Right. Truthfully, I'm not sure where I stand, because I genuinely thought, and I was completely wrong, because I thought those demos was all that was missing from Space Station, but the Knights had managed to hold on to it, and I think that's a big part from the dribbling and the control from the defensive side. It wasn't just ZPS this time. Sosa had gotten some very good catches on the defense to go out, find a flick, and there was always somebody actually down the field from the Knights to continue onward with that pressure, which is fantastic. That's what they needed coming into game 7. I don't even know what to expect at this point. It has been back and forth. We might as well flip a quarter to see which side it's going to land on to figure out who wins this one, because that's how close these teams are.
We have played 30, well, we're about to have played 34 out of a possible 35 games in group stage of the Summit 2. This is incredible. Yes, it really is.
You know what?
Is that a mind meld?
What else is there to even say, though? That's all there is. The amount of game 7s that we're getting, it really is Christmas. This is what we wanted. You go into a best of 7, you expect it to be close. We've gotten overtimes. The one thing we're missing, and I talked about this yesterday, is just the 20-minute overtime. Can we get a 20-minute overtime? I want to break some records here in this event. I know some teams have got to be listening in. We got to get this 20-minute overtime. If we're not getting all best of 7s, which we haven't gotten yet. There was only one series so far, chat, out of all of the games we've seen in the group stage that has not gone to game 7. Everything else has gone the distance.
You can have your 20-minute overtime when you are, I don't know, you cast it with James at some point, right? This weekend, you can have it with him. Here's Arsenal. Opening shot on Champions Field. Finds the net for Space Station Gaming.
Yeah, and it was also some demos who really just threw that defense off. If you get a couple of demos in here, sometimes that defense can't recover. The Knights had done a good job of making sure they get back in position, but here they were too slow. Space Station, the first shot goes in for them. 1 minute in, but the Knights don't count them out yet.
First minute gone by. There is Sosa right inside the second minute. And it's off this setup from ZPS.
I can't believe this, man. ZPS. The control he's showing us has been delightful to watch. Taking it off the sidewall, the air dribble, double tap to knock it down. And Sosa knows exactly where to position himself. Still going forward. Almost gets a 50 against Reynolds on the backward. That could have been deadly. Again, we're back to a tied-up game where we have no idea who is the favorite, but Sosa definitely has some input. He puts.
I think Sosa's the favorite.
Yes, sir.
Sosa
yes, sir.
is, again, he is everywhere.
I know what is happening. He knows 100% where to be. And the amazing thing is Sosa is the new pickup on this team. A lot of times you can't put that type of responsibility on the new roster, or the new player, excuse me, on the roster to be in position and know where his teammates are trying to hit it. Reynolds, he knows they're gonna both cascade and just whiff on the backboard. An easy cleanup for him. What happened here? Oh no, we don't need to talk about it. We don't need to talk about it.
No, we do not. No, we don't. The Pittsburgh Knights PR department would, in fact, prefer if we do not talk about it. So we won't. We won't mention that defensive breakdown that allowed Reynolds and company to tie the game. That's fine.
You know,
Brand
you're
new
not
ball
Leaf
game.
X though. You're not Leaf X though. We're not. Well, this isn't the Knights grid, all right? We got to talk about it. Spacestation
Says
Gaming.
who?
They're there for the punishment. Says me.
Says who?
All right.
Oh.
The second Santa hat
Okay.
man here.
True. All right, you win. Arsenal just right through ZPS. Didn't even slow him down one bit. Reynolds looking for a demo. Instead, he got the ball cleanly. Arsenal now. And
Oh,
there's
he got
no way
bumped.
Reynolds should have got to that. Yeah, Arsenal did get bumped, and that kills off the Space Station attack. But Rodoko demoed behind the play. Arsenal looking for another, but he goes right around ZPS. Good job by ZPS avoiding contact in the net. Putting
Arsenal's
a
alone.
good defensive effort forth for the Knights, and they turn it into at least a threat. But another demo. I mean, Rodoko's been demoed left and right by Space Station in Game 7.
But the Knights have figured out how to deal with that physical play before. Every single demo almost resulted in a perfect opportunity for Space Station. It just came down to the striking, but they haven't been able to get the timing. Sometimes when you go for demos, you know, it's a quality job of annoying that rotation, but with the Knights and how they've been able to recover it, you're going to need more than just a demo. You need a solid pass connection with that perfectly timed demo. Otherwise, you're not getting one in.
Rodoko over Sosa.
Arsenal,
But
what's he
not
got?
around the Space Station defense. Arsenal denied by ZPS. Follow up, isn't it,
Oh.
from Reynolds? It's just an innocent looking follow up from the side, but the Knights were not ready for this.
Yeah, and if you're going to define Reynolds' performance so far in this series, it has been clinical. He's there for every shot they need him to be at, and he knows how to find the angle. It's not the fanciest looking shot, but he was also there previously for the other goal to punish and capitalize on the mistakes that the Knights are making.
Exactly one goal per game for Reynolds. And that one right there may be the one that puts Space Station past the Knights. Still a lot of Rocket League to go. A minute and a half. ZPS doesn't have the follow, and that's going to be thrown to the corner by Sosa. Got tangled up with Reynolds, though. Reynolds still breaks free to the ceiling. Looking
Double
for a
tap.
highlight reel.
Oh my, and the
Left it back
bumps.
for Arsenal, and he missed it off the post.
Oh my goodness, Reynolds got the double tap and followed it up with a bump play on two players. But we didn't see the goal. We can't get a replay on it now. And the bumps from the Knights. Okay, this could be a good start for them to get back in it. The final shot, it's saved. Two players go for it, and they barely managed to get out. But the Knights lurking for that tiebreaker. Or the
little
tying goal,
hesitation
actually.
on the
It's not even a
breakout.
tiebreaker.
Yeah, that they allowed Reynolds to get that midfield boost, and it was almost real costly for the Knights. 45 seconds. Knights need a goal to at least force OT. You can see Space Station hanging back so far, ready to just repel every Knights attack. No boost for Sosa, otherwise perfectly positioned for maybe a redirect downfield, but instead Reynolds killing more time. Every time he gets the ball downfield, it's another 5 to 10 seconds off the clock as Sipical dumps another back into the zone, and the Knights just have to get these big booming clears and hope somebody can run on the other end of one.
Oh my
Like
goodness, no way.
Just a tie, and it's cleared. Oh, I think that was pitched off the crossbar.
Well, it's still up, though. We've seen it before. The Knights have gotten a last few second goals here in this series. 2 seconds left. You just got to keep it alive if you want a chance to take down Space Station in Game 7. This one pinches down. We don't get the finish to end it off, but we do get a ball that's hitting the ground. Space Station Gaming take this series in 7.
Man, they had an absolute battle on their hands out of the Pittsburgh Knights. This is a Knights team that ever since that fall split ended has decided they are going to be a force in North America, and they are taking teams all the way to the limit, and they did it here again to Space Station Gaming. But Reynolds is back. Space Station reigns supreme, and we'll come back in just a moment to invite LeafX in and tell him how he was wrong. We'll be back with more Summit right after this.
And welcome back to the Rocket League Summit number 2. We just saw a very, very close series. That was intense. And Stax, you trying to call me out at the end, yet the whole time you were not confident yourself on whether it was going to. You can't do that.
I doubled down at the end. I said I totally had Space Station in Game 7. It worked out. We were right. You were wrong. Deal with it.
Yeah, I know you didn't have Game 7. You specifically said Game 6. You were wrong.
He said no. He said in 5 games. He said in 5.
But
then, still wrong.
But then when Turtle asked me going into Game 7, I said, "No, I totally have Space Station."
Because we're going into Game 7. That's not.
Turtle asked me going into Game 7. Who do you have? I have Space Station in 7. I changed my pick.
And it worked out.
This is the game we're playing.
I totally can.
It's okay. It's okay. Leaf, you don't even have to be mad because your boys, the Knights, they showed up. This was a good performance from them and something to be proud of because Sosa was everywhere on the field. We had the typical ZPS moments, and we even got a little pop-off highlight from Rodoko with that double tap.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, let's just be happy that we got some good Rocket League.
Oh, you saw that goal, right? I just want to make sure everybody saw how fast that double tap was. That was one of my favorite moments from this series. But Space Station Gaming, even when they got the demos involved, sometimes the Knights would fight back a bit, but Space Station held it down on defense, managed to clutch it out in Game 7. They don't even need Chrome at this point.
I think it was the confidence and the control. At one point, you saw Sosa just kind of flip down, land on the ground, and then just smoothly trap the ball on the hood of his car and just bring it to the corner. Like it was the control that all these players had on the field that made it super interesting to watch. People were up for those aerial 50-50 so fast.
It was a relatively similar play style. That's what I liked a bit. I think obviously the Knights weren't as aggressive and weren't going for those demos that Space Station were, but like you mentioned, Leaf, these teams love to take it down, control it a bit more. Reynolds, if this play, I'm so happy we saw it again. I wish that play had worked out. I'm like actually sad. I forgot about it. I didn't know that it didn't go in, or I forgot about it. I didn't know that we were going to see it again. And then Reynolds, you saw him. He got the double tap off the ground. It bounced up, hits it behind him. Demos 2 players, and we don't see the goal. That was probably the saddest moment so far of the series, but at the end of the day, it's SSG who take it away.
Wait, were you just saying hi, Stax, or did you have something?
No, I was just saying pain when Arsenal.
Pain.
I thought you said hey too.
He had everything. Yeah. Hey everybody, how's it going? No, when Arsenal missed that, because that was the opening that I think we were all looking at, going, oh no, if the Knights actually come back and win this game after that, Arsenal's going to be kicking himself the rest of the event. But it worked out for Space Station, barely.
Yeah. I thought you were just like, hey.
Hi, chat.
Hey,
yeah, all my friends are there in chat. We got through this together.
Yeah, no, this I just want to ask though for the Pittsburgh Knights now. You look at the landscape of just Rocket League in general now. How do you feel this kind of performance from a team like Pittsburgh Knights is going to start to shift Stax kind of the overview of the North American region?
Well, I think a lot of teams that previously, before RLCSX in general, were not given the time of day by some of the teams at the top, they're going to start looking and noticing that, there's a guy like Sosa who, you're not going to be able to like poach him off the roster now. There's so much more security for all these rosters. You got to deal with him and ZPS and Rodoko together, and they're only going to get better. And that is a scary, scary thought.
Well, we got a lot more Rocket League to get through. That's only the first series of the 6 that we had today. So 5 more matches in the standard before we even get to the crew battle. Lots of Rocket League. You guys are at the right place right now, hanging out with us on Twitch. Coming up next, we have Sonics versus Rogue. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in just a couple.